Hi, I'm Jamie.
I'm Jen.
Welcome to our podcast, All Things Unbroken.
Life breaks us in ways we never expect, but God rebuilds us in ways we could never imagine.
So come hang with us as we talk about relationships, motherhood, wellness, grief, recovery,
And the slow, beautiful process of becoming unbroken.
Hi, cousin.
Hello, good morning, baby cousin.
Good morning. You look very bright and springy today and summery,
Well,
I guess.
it's hot.
I know, and I have on a sweatshirt. I feel very,
Have you been
I don't know.
outside today? Is it hot there?
I went out this morning pretty early to pick up my son from a little it's kind of like a football camp, and it was a little muggy, and I thought I might be changing later, but I just like to be comfortable.
I'm comfortable. I've been out chasing dogs, gathering them up, putting them up. My husband's gone for a few days, and I've been out 20 times running around. So you're
Oh,
lucky I'm
yeah.
not in my hair. Anyway, so good
Yeah.
morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning. You look great. You've already been
Thank
out
you.
and about on all the adventures. It sounds
Two of
like.
my dogs are still down the road. I texted my neighbor and I was like, hey, they're all half of them are rescues. Like, hey, I'm gonna be busy for like 45 minutes. If you see my dogs, shoo them away and I will come get them. We'll take a ride. At this point, I'm like giving them to God because I don't know
Yeah.
where they're getting out at. Like we patched everything. I'm just trying to figure it out. So, anyways,
You need a camera or something,
and I
maybe.
know you're busy with all your things, and we'll kind of just forewarn people this will be maybe one of our last ones for a little bit, taking a break, possibly, maybe here and there. So
Yeah.
being ready for
Well,
summer.
busy, but yeah, I want to kind of be present with the kids as much as we can. And so,
Hmm.
anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be good though. I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
still be around here and there whenever the
Yeah.
mood strikes us.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
hopefully we can get together and go do some fun things.
That's what we are. That's my goal. Or at least one time this summer we need to go do something um fun
Yeah.
together with each other.
Yes. With the
Okay.
kiddos. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yay. All right. Anything else before we jump in?
I don't
Any?
know. You doing okay?
Yeah. Doing
Okay.
good. Doing good.
I feel like you're right. It's like mid-June and I've really been trying to embrace it, but I'm also like a little discombobulated. Um, but we're
Same.
good. So anyways,
We're
that's
good.
good. So we keep telling ourselves that. Kids are
Yeah.
happy.
There's some job, like it's been a little over a year since I turned in all my stuff for my job, like things like that in my mind. But I think we'll probably get into that in
We'll talk about it. We
another
talked about
episode.
it on and off a little bit. I think that's something
Yeah.
that comes up. I think that with every season, things are changing. We just talked about the seasons with some of the anniversaries. I'm about to be 43. So with every birthday, with every year, you reflect. So with you, like last summer, like you had like been away from your job. I think you're reflecting. I think that it's important that we reflect and then we think about where we are now because sometimes I think it's easy to get stuck, even for me, in what was. And we talk
Mhm.
about that a lot. And I know as I'm
Yeah.
telling my testimony about my past, so I don't know what that means, but moving through it. And so that's all important because you have some really cool stuff going on that we've shared, but definitely looking forward to kind of getting more into the nitty gritty of mom life and working or staying at home or whatever. So
Yeah, for sure. And happy
I'm ready.
birthday.
Oh gosh, yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm going to
Okay,
make
so
all of your followers wish you happy
I
birthday.
have all five of like it's like
Well, whatever it is, I'm going to
all of
throw it
our
out there and make
friends,
everybody.
water and then some cocoa, right? Some my rise coffee. Yeah, okay. Um,
Got it.
so yeah, it's kind of like we're moving forward and which we can transition into the story because I really feel like going into this year, which we're about to finish up a little bit of just like some of the stuff that happened. Um, I feel like it's a good transition there because this is the first
Mhm.
birthday in a while, in about 6 years that I haven't been pregnant. I haven't been losing a baby, miscarrying, or I haven't been delivering a baby in like a minute. We had like a year break in between 2024, but then you skipped over and here we are now. It's like a new season, mid 40s. And I'm just kind of wrapping my head around that. Like doing okay.
Yeah, I love it. And that's why we're here, because you're doing okay because of
God.
how you say it wasn't like a trick question. Because your whole story is
So,
like underpinned, I feel like, with how God has carried you
yeah.
through everything.
Sorry.
It was so funny.
So with that,
I love it.
it's kind of cool this week because generally we're like every other week, but this time we just spoke a few days ago. So we kind of were very fresh on the thing. So I think we ended with the last loss, early miscarriage, and how that was a hard one. Even though they're all hard, nothing's harder or easier. Obviously, delivering a baby versus having an early miscarriage where you don't hold your baby, very different things. That's a whole
Mm,
nother conversation, which we went into. Um, and then moving forward, because I think that struggle and what I went through specifically during those times is why I'm okay now, which we can go ahead and fast forward. Obviously, our listeners know, or whoever's we know, um, we lost another child, January of 2025. Um, so I guess we can pause there. We can go back and reconnect. I think that we were talking about that a little
okay.
bit. Um, and it was also another late miscarriage. So,
Yeah. So do you want to give the timeline of that after you had lost Madison, and then like how long after that you found out you were pregnant, or
sure. So we had Madison, Halloween 2022. We had early miscarriage February 2023. Move forward. I think I talked about going back to work. Um, we had put my daughter in a part-time program because we had been looking for one. I was kind of funny. I would look for one. And I would not call them for a while. Look for one because we lost, two babies in between. So I'm like, oh, I could still have her at home. But it was like I knew I did not want to have two under 2 or 3 at home while I was working full time. I knew that I didn't want to do that. So I took this break and she went to her program. Um, we kind of put hold on house plans. We kept talking, are we building? Are we adding? We kind of kept putting a hold on that. Um, and so that was, 2023. I continued to work. I loved my job. I think we talked about it quite a bit through this. Like I kept it through all my pregnancies. When I had my daughter, work from home. I'm assistant director for admissions for a medical school. I'd been with this company over a decade. Um, and it was I loved it. I loved working with students. I helped making doctors. I loved interviewing. I loved all the things. I was a very career driven person. In fact, if you would, and I'm obviously not working now, but if you would have asked me 5 years ago if I would be a stay at home mom, I would have been like, no. So that's another thing. It's a God plan. But anyway, so we
yeah.
went forward and, I talked about how hard of a time that was after, but we really started rebuilding. We went to therapy, did the things, 2024 hit that next year. I got sort of, I didn't do that yet. So I was just working full time. My husband and I were kind of talking back and forth on me kind of like leaving that job because there were some things happening there that I didn't necessarily agree with. I kind of was outgrowing it. Also, I've said it. It's just us out here. Like our closest, my parents are both gone. His parents live over 6 hours away. He has some aunts and uncles that live over an hour away, but it's like we were the main source to if someone got sick and yada, yada, yada. And obviously, if you're remote, it is easier if a baby gets sick or something, but it's still, you have a job, you're taking off work, you're taking time, whatever. So we had kind of been playing with the decision of me leaving that job. There was a couple things that would have to happen that I said, if these things happen, we'll leave. And we were at a financial spot at the time that's like, if we're going to do it, like, let's try it. Okay. He's in sales. And he, at this point, I think, yeah, he was like full commission. So
Mm.
I had my job that was very like every month we got this much. So it's a very, you know how it is, sales, you can be top of the world, right? And then sometimes you're not. And it's just how it is. Um, so we decided about, I don't know, after a little while after we lost the second baby, we're kind of in an upscale of being in a good like mental place with each other, that I was going to leave So it was, I guess it was a year because I had the earliest miscarriage February 23 and I left my job February 24. So yeah, literally within a year we decided. So I left my job, gave them plenty of notice, and we're going to try this. And I'm going to be a full time stay at home mom to
Mhm.
all my animals, all the things. Um, that's a whole nother episode we can talk about, which you very well communicate with me on that because you went through this too. It's very different dynamic. I know you're still, whatever, working in the things, but just to go from working to like not having a
Oh
job,
yeah.
it's
Yeah, we're
very,
gonna do a whole,
yeah, we need
probably
to.
maybe multiple
Yeah,
episodes
because
on
it's
that
been,
because
yeah,
there's so
yes,
much to
so
it people don't
much.
think about.
Anyway, so when I quit, I still, I wanted to do something. So I ended up taking some courses and I got my life coach certification. And I started working with a therapist office and I was going to be the coach at the office. And I really got into that. Well, about 3 months after I did that, and my daughter's still going through, which is kind of funny. So even though I like quit my job, I still had her going 3 days a week. So it was the whole thing. I kind of felt guilty, but I was like, no, it was kind of cool how that worked out. It's like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, this is a good thing. Um,
Yeah.
which is, by the way, all the moms, whoever's listening, like everyone needs a moment. Okay. We all need moments, even if no matter what. Um, so when I got my life coach certification, I got a couple clients who were in it, doing it, training for races. I ran like a few more races after that. Like I'm in the 20s now, like whatever, like as far as like my stakes that I'm doing.
Mm.
That fall of 2024, we're gonna the word everything changed. I think I've said that 100 times on this since I've been sharing. Everything changed. It was
Mm.
fall 2024. It'd been over a year. We're in a great place. We actually decided to go ahead and add some rooms to the barn dominium. So that was done because our daughter was in a nook in our room for the first 2 years. And we're like, it's time. So we added it. We're doing the
Yeah.
things. We're living our life. Like we're getting in sort of a groove where it's like, okay, I'm taking care of, I'm mowing more. I'm doing the outside things. We're getting in a groove. I'm still adjusting to be stay at home, but I also had the life coach stuff. So I had some clients. Like it was, this was a very good time in our lives. Like we are figuring out the stay at home and, all the things.
Yeah.
Fall 2024 happened. It was September. It was and I started feeling kind of weird. And again, your body when you're pregnant more than once. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. We were not trying. We were doing all the things, not to go into too much information. Like I know the things. But I just had this weird feeling. And I went and I remember my daughter was at school and I remember very vividly, like my husband was at home and I was just like, this can't be happening. And I think I had a client that day. I don't know. I went to the store and I come home and I took pregnancy tests and I was pregnant.
Mm. What were those emotions?
Well, I guess I'm getting emotional.
It's okay.
I don't really know. I like thinking about it. It was, it was something. Um, I was scared. I was confused. I was a little excited.
It's okay.
Um, so a
We
lot of
can.
things. I was no, yeah, I'm like, let's just get it out. My therapy sessions with you today. No, I'm just kidding. And and this is really like where my faith has been the last year and a half is like from the moment I'm telling you to a year and a half later. And I remember I had the test and I didn't really know what to do. And I actually slept in the bathroom and my husband came home and was like, hey, you need to go in the bathroom. And we're kind of joking couple. And he's like, what? And he was like, so excited
Oh,
because that's who he is. And he was so excited. I will tell you, one of the biggest things in this, you know, being who I am and being a mom is I knew very, very early that he wanted to have kids. And there was a time that we actually, I think I said this before we had to have a conversation because I was older. I was older. I was in my mid 30s. Not that I was like 100, but, and one of the conversations we had was like, are we going to try? Are we not? And like, yes, like that was one of our
Yeah.
non-negotiables, right? And not that he was giving me ultimatum, but that's a very good conversation. Anyone listening, have that conversation before you're married. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, and then there was a time whenever we didn't know we could have them, and it was like, we're going to be okay if we don't have them. We can either adopt or have our animals. And then our story. We had one, lost a late one, had an early one, and here we were. And one of the things throughout this that I've struggled with is that I've felt that I haven't been able to give that to him. And
Mhm.
that honestly, and I've talked through it in the therapy, like he knows these things. Uh, but as a mom, as a woman, that is something that has been very hard for me. So, um, so here we are, right? So we didn't really tell anybody, and I told my close people. One of my really good friends at the time was in California, and she was going through a new job, and we talked a lot. And so she knew a lot of it, and actually talked about every day. And she like was also like a kind of a new Christian, and so we're like in this faith thing. And I told my closest friends, I told all the people that have been in my life throughout the other times that I'm also at the same time you're telling people and you're giving your faith to God. And this is one of those other times I think I mentioned earlier with my daughter. We thought we lost her. I got down on my knees and I prayed, and then like here we are. So it's like you can only imagine like this world. And like I am a believer. I've shared my faith. I'm sharing it with you, but this happening, and I was scared, but I also was like giving it to God. Like I have journals, I have things, I have people writing me letters, I have all the things. Like, okay, like this is it. So then I was in therapy through the whole time as well. It's kind of interesting. So when I quit my job and I started doing my life coaching, I went to a new therapist for like trauma therapy, like specific. And it just happened that when I was with her, all these things were happening. So I went to her, and I remember just going to her, talking to her like every week, whatever, doing the coaching. I put a pause on my coaching during this time um, at some point. And then I was just trying to like kind of get prepared for this baby because it kept, I mean, I went through first trimester hit, right? You do it. Okay. Telling my daughter is now 3 at this time. So very aware of all the things. My belly's getting bigger. Um, so we are fully in it. So I spent that season, like, I was very excited. I was very excited for this one. I mean, I was excited for all of them, but it was kind of one of those things like, okay, God, like this, like last time, this is my rainbow baby. Like this would not happen. Like we were not trying. Like da 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 da. Da. I was seeing a specialist every 2 weeks now. So now I was not only seeing my normal, I was also seeing the specialist where I literally was going every 2 weeks. So I kind of quit because I was in and out in Dallas all the time. So like every single time after 13 weeks, like I got an ultrasound, seeing all of things. Everything was perfect. There was one moment when they talked about doing something called I don't know if I should share this. They could do certain things, but there's like nothing unhealthy about my pregnancy, about any of the babies that I lost. There was nothing like we did all the testing. There was nothing wrong. So we're like, okay, we're going to do this. Um, so that was kind of that season. Do you have any questions about that? I kind of like got in there and got emotional on you.
No, no questions. I'm really like in that moment with you, thinking about how your mind maybe can't exactly pinpoint what it is. Like, is this hopeful, or is this going to be sadness, or is it going to be this, or is it going to be that? And I could kind of see how maybe it would be difficult to like fully believe. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you're
I think
those probably conflicting
I
thoughts
was waiting
or
for that like 19-week mark, right? Because I'm waiting because that's when we
mm,
lost like 18 and a half. Well, actually, with Madison, we had her about 18 and a half, 19 weeks, but she had actually passed about 17 and a half weeks around there.
mm.
And so I was waiting for that. And we're about to get there. So hold on. So you're going through your life. We're doing the things. I'm fully at this time, just taking care of my daughter, preparing for this baby, trying to like stay calm. We also have a bunch of goats at this time, which my goats were also pregnant with me. Like they were all
I
pregnant
forgot
with
about that.
me. Oh yeah. They were
Yeah.
pregnant with me. Um, I'm excited. People are buying me baby things. So you get the first trimester going in. And I remember telling my therapist at one point, like, my biggest fear is that the longer I'm pregnant, that if I have her, but I was like, I was doing all the things. I was praying. I was speaking my feelings. I was saying what I was scared of. I was literally doing everything right. I was eating right. I was doing the things right. I was going to the specialist. We decided not to get, it was called a cerclage is what you could get early on, but there was nothing that pointed it to it. So we didn't like do that because I was like, I wasn't running anymore. I was barely even lifting weights. I was literally like, okay. And life was happening. And it was around Christmas. It was like after Christmas. So we my what our family does is usually with his family we do it like after Christmas. And then me and Alex have always kind of just done our own thing at Christmas homes, especially since we had our daughter. We just like that time together. And then we'll go with his, and then we'll do another time with my family, either before or after or whatever. And I
Yeah.
remember this Christmas particularly. So it was Christmas 25. And I remember that oh, what happened was we were visiting my grandma the week before, supposed to go visit his family, and my goats all had their babies. So they all had their babies, and so we came back home. So I'm over here pregnant. I'm like six, and then these goats had babies. I have no idea what I'm doing with these. By the way, I'm still the city girl, googling stuff. One of the babies was having to be bottle fed because her mom
Mm.
rejected or him. We thought it was it's a him. No, it was a her. We thought it was him. Anyway, and so this time we're like, okay, so I actually missed Christmas with his family that year. He took my daughter because I was bottle feeding this goat. And my niece, because I was bottle feeding this
Sorry.
goat.
Just
You can have a moment.
you're like on the ranch by yourself, pregnant at
No,
Christmas, bottle feeding
no, it
goats
was
while your
after
family
Christmas.
is
It
away.
was after Christmas.
Okay,
It was
but
like
I'm just saying
after.
like during the
No, and my
holidays.
and my niece, no, my niece. So we had with my family we had Christmas and we came home, had Christmas together,
Mm,
and whatever. So we had this baby go, and then a few
gotcha.
days later he would go. That my niece actually came up with
Okay.
me, and she's
I was just
21 at this
picturing
point.
you
Yeah, no, she was with me. So
with
my
your
niece came up.
goats.
My niece came with me to take care of this
Yeah,
baby, to hang out with me, and
cool.
on my husband's way out of town to go. It is kind of funny because this little baby goat, I'm telling you, helped save me. But so we have all these goats, were dogs. It was hilarious. And this, I don't know if you ever bottle fed anything, maybe not, because I know Jimmy's like, no, but it's like a newborn basically.
Mm,
Like you have to feed them. So she was here, and I remember when he left that day, some things were happening. I texted him. I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of worried about this." I called the doctor. Everything was okay. Anyway, he goes for a couple days to Louisiana to see his family. I'm with the goat. We had a blast. We just literally we laid around and watched Twilight, went out to eat, ordered food, and played with baby goats. Okay. And I was sad. I was
that
so
sounds
sad to
fun.
miss with my family, but I was also so worried about this goat, and they understood, and I was going to see them later. Anyways, so they get back home within the week. Um, and I went to a doctor's appointment, and it was a specialist, did an ultrasound, everything was fine.
Yeah.
And then January 4th happened. So this was all within that time. And we were messing with the goats. We had all the goats. I actually have a picture of it where all my goats were grazing and the babies had just been reconnected with all the goat herd. It was a whole thing. And, and we went to Mexican dinner that night. And I remember my daughter asking about the baby, and she was telling me about her, you know, the time with my in-laws and that side of the family. And I remember I just started feeling like really heavy. And I was like, something's not right. Like, what's
Oh
going
no.
on? I was just like pressure, whatever. And again, let's go backwards. Like with my condition, after my accident, I am literally not supposed to like deliver a baby or know what a contraction feels like, but we know. So I remember getting home and I was like, I just felt like kind of heavy. I was like laying around. There's actually a picture of like my daughter running around and me videoing her thinking it was funny. And it was like 7:38. My husband's like, "Are you like?" I'm like, "Something's not right." So I called the doctor,
Mm,
and like there was no bleeding or anything yet, just something was happening. And they're like, I was kind of like, should I go in? Should I not? But then some things started happening that I was like, I need to go in. And so we call some people because we call some people that we like our family, like no one's really like it's like kind of 9 o'clock at night, it's busy. So we go in about 9:30. And so my husband actually has to like stay in the car with my daughter while I go. This is gonna be hard to
Mm.
tell. Um, and he's still trying to get a hold of some friends and family. We do, and eventually it happened, but it's like 9:30, 10 probably. So I had to go, I was by myself during this time. And I went up and they, like nothing was happening. And they did a ultrasound. And so the baby's heartbeat was good. It was like 150.
Mm.
So we were like, okay, like, whatever. Like she was really, they did a check and like not everything was okay. They didn't do the ultrasound. They did the heartbeat is
Okay.
what they did. Pausing. They did the heartbeat and then they did an exam and everything seemed fine that way. They had to order the ultrasound. So at that time, my husband's still in the car with my daughter. He had gotten hold of an aunt and uncle that were like about 20 minutes away and they were coming to get her. It was after 11 by this time, and they did the ultrasound and I was told that Lily, that she was in my cervix, like she was being born. Like we were, like I
Oh,
was having, they called it something else, but it was like an early labor. And she was a little over 17 weeks. Um, we can pause. Yeah, it was just kind of crazy because that day, like at dinner, that's what it was. At that dinner, I showed him the ultrasound pictures because that same day, like I'd gone to the specialist, like nothing was wrong. And
mm.
I didn't tell my husband until he got up there. But they and uncle, they came and got her. And by this time, it was probably like, it was after 11. I don't know what time, but he came up there. And then I told him, like, we were going to have a baby. And we were kind of like, okay,
Mm.
that was hard, obviously.
Mm.
Um, and to be in that moment, you're like, again, like, here, like, okay. And this is where, by the grace of God, we were like, okay. So this one was a little bit different. The reason it was different, and I've said it before, is because with Madison, she was not alive, but with
Mm.
Lily, like she was still alive. And as a mom, as we all want control of things, and I've said this before, I think we talked, and at that moment, you have no control of it. There's nothing that I can physically do to save this child. And I know that she's alive and I know that she's going to be born and there's nothing that I can do. Like that right there, again, I was broken again, right? We ended up delivering her. Um, and we held her. Um, I will say it was a little more numb this time because we're both just like, it was kind of like one of those things like, are you kidding me? Like again, what is this? What is this life? um,
Yeah.
but we decided, we had lots of conversations. We decided pretty early on, like we were like, we're not gonna let this like we're gonna get through this. We've got through this before. And I don't want to say it's like right, it's not like riding a bike, but it's kind of like what to expect this time. Like I knew what to expect, I knew what to do. We went and got my daughter on the way home. A few of my friends kind of showed up at my house later that day. Um, because after the first two, I was very like vocal, not vocal, but I was better at sharing like what happened, what didn't help. And I think on the last podcast, I was like, I didn't share with things. That's not true. I shared a lot on social media and with people like about the miscarriage and stuff. But I think a lot of that too was maybe masking the inside of how I was feeling too. Um,
Mm.
but I think they saw me before they knew I was going to struggle. So they actually showed up. And I will tell you, when I got home, I went in the cold after going through labor and I bottle fed that baby goat. And I had that baby goat. And that season, that goat helped me through so much. There was a moment that I sat there with it and I cried. with this goat feeding it. Cause I'm like,
Oh,
but say God gave me that little piece of like, I kept this goat alive. So that happened. And that was January 4th, 2025, which is a day before the accident that happened years before. It's like a whole like cycle of things. So, um,
wow.
but this one was different because we also had to tell our daughter, and she's fully aware, fully talking, and I couldn't tell her. Again, my husband has saved me so much in life. I've told stories, and I remember being with them in Lane and him telling her and her crying. And so that kind of broke my heart, obviously. And she's the most empathetic, sweetest soul. Um, she really feels things. And it was kind of interesting. Like after this all happened, like, so she was with me, like we went through this together. And what I say that healed me through this is leading into that and like knowing that I had to be okay for her. And I didn't get depressed this time. And I knew what to do, and I
Mm,
knew the steps to take, and I knew how to ask, not beautifully, because we're still hurting, we're still missing our child. But like this time, our daughter actually, like when we went and we buried Lily, like she said words, and like she understands life, and she knows she's gonna see them again. Like we
mm,
tell her about my parents, like she knows what heaven is. And that to me is like, that is, as a mama who is a Christian, like as you know, like you said it before, like what our whole goal is to have them in heaven with us and to share that with them, right? And so there were some funny moments that we did. Like we did some, to get your milk to stop afterwards, like cabbage. You get the cabbage and you put the cabbage broth. So
that's the
she
thing,
had the,
yeah.
that's a thing, TMI, but she did like the cabbage thing with me. And and we talked through it. And then my husband very early on decided like, we are not going to get back. We're not going to go back to where we were. And
Oh, what a
we did
good
it.
dude. You guys are
Sometimes we've
good
not always, it's
team.
not always been
No, I
beautiful.
get it.
Okay.
I
I
get
mean,
it.
listen, um, and we
But
butted heads, and there's been
that's
times
great.
where I look at him like, how are we going to get, like, what are we going to do? But, um, at this time, I didn't even mention before, we were thinking about putting our place up for sale. And, we decided we did it. It was on the market. We actually, right about we were thought about it, because then we were also thinking like, maybe we should move into town for the girls and schools and whatever. So we hadn't done it
Mm,
yet. We paused on that. And, then we went through the steps. I went through, all the things, and I really leaned into God. I had some really good friends through all of it. I talked to my friend in California, like she was, I remember the day, like a week later, like I got this package in the mail. She had already warned me. She's like, "Hey, I sent you something, but it was before like this obviously happened." And it was a blanket with
oh,
Lily's name on it. And she's younger. She has no kids, and she's younger, but she's just like one of those people that like she like cares about other people, and that like even though we are in different seasons, like she's just someone that will like try to empathize with you as well.
yeah.
And I've got to watch her walk, like her faith grow and her become a Christian. And anyway, it's good to have those people. And then I have my friends even in around town, my friends in Oklahoma. At this time, you and I were kind of a little bit speaking. So I actually remember texting you and your mom, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
And your baby cousin sent you a care package.
yes, you sent me that hell book.
I'm just so
Yeah.
you got the book, and I remember you were like, I actually had this book last time, and anyway.
It
I
helped
was
me.
I was not really trying to make it about me.
No, you did. You helped me. That helped me so much because I did that again. It's called Held. We should put it in somewhere, but it's called Held, and it is a devotional. The first time I got it, I don't remember who gave it, maybe my sister-in-law. I don't remember. I think it maybe was my sister-in-law. Um, and I remember I didn't look at it for like a month, and then I did it, and it helped me.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that's that. And so then we fast forward. I guess I can add this in here because this is kind of a big part, I think, for me, honestly. Like we decided a few months later that we were going to put our house on the market. And so we did,
Mm,
because we're like, hey, let's just try it. And it didn't end up ever selling for months and months and months. And I remember my husband at that time, and on top of this, like, I don't have a job. He's in sales. This was kind of a slow time for him. And we went like 5 months, and didn't have a paycheck during this, and we were getting hospital bills, and we had savings and everything. But I don't care who you are, how much money when you make, if you don't get paid for 5 months at a time, like it's a little nerve wracking, especially with more emotional and things are happening. And like I said, we had savings and everything, but it was just kind of a weird time. And we put our house on the market for like a while. And then at some point, we're like, you know what? Let's just take it off and see what happens. The moment we took it off the market, I'm telling the moment he went and sold one of the biggest jobs that he ever has and was able to
Wow.
like, it was just, I felt like it was God just saying, you're follow me. And,
Yeah.
since then, that was a year and a half ago. Or no, it was, yeah, I guess it was a year and a half ago, right? That we
Well,
lost her.
yeah, almost.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's just everything in our life since then. And this losing her, we like started doing a little more praying together. I started like me and you got reconnected. I started like asking like God, where do you want? I remember I feel like the last year and a half specifically, I have said, God, where do you want me 1,000 times?
Mhm.
And I think also the point of this is like we did not get that baby. And I wish it was a little bow to where like, oh yeah, we got our miracle baby. We didn't. We didn't get her. And we had people
Yeah.
praying. Like my friends were like mad because they're like, we were praying on our knees for you. Like I had friends that were like, we're mad. And the thing about it is too, is like I've said this a couple of times, like I've had more peace this last year and a half than I have in 43 years. That's unexplainable. I don't know how to explain that. I will say I wrote this because I listened to our other podcast. It says sometimes you have to seek him even when you don't feel like that means you have to like get up and go do things. You have to go to the word. There are some days, yes, I didn't do that. I'm not going to lie. Some days I maybe instead of picking up the Bible, I'm like, I want a glass of wine. And maybe I did that some days. But the fact of the matter is I kept trying to go back. And that's what I've been doing my whole life since losing my dad. I have been trying, not beautifully, to go back and try to find the things. And sometimes that's church, and sometimes that's a podcast, sometimes it's a therapist, sometimes that's been a friend, sometimes that's been getting up when I don't feel like it and showing up places that I don't want to. Sometimes that's looking at something negative and saying something positive and being super annoying and being the most positive person that you don't want to be around because it's like I can't deal with negativity. Sometimes that's been like not talking to anyone for a week. Sometimes that's been shutting down my social media for a year, like just not getting on there. Sometimes that's been like turning off my phone for 3 days. Sometimes that's been getting on my knees and praying. Sometimes that's been the things I'm like, but it's just, I keep trying. And so I think that's the point is what I'm trying to get to is I keep trying. And sometimes that's even cutting people out of my life. And sometimes that's adding people back in and reaching out and being like, hey, like, I'm sorry, I love you. Like, I need you in my life. Like, the whole point of this and my testimony as we come to this part of it is life is not easy. It is messy. God definitely does not just give us what we want. We have free will. I've made mistakes. I've done things. I haven't done it perfectly, but I keep trying. I keep trying to seek him in the end, even though it's not maybe exactly when I need to and I have to learn lessons. I think back to whenever after we lost like Madison and then the second early and how I was like, I was depressed. But even in that depression, I was still working full time. I was still going every single week to my mom's group an hour away because I knew I needed to do it. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to get up and do it, but I did it. And I showed up. And then those people that don't even know that I was depressed saved me more than they could even imagine. Some of those people saved me. They didn't even know they were saving me because I did it. So if anyone's listening that is depressed or going through a hard time or lost things, like just keep trying. Like, and you will find it. You will find it. You will keep trying, and he will find you, and he will find you in your darkest times. And then, yeah,
I
it,
don't think there's
that
anything else that I could say to
was a
that. That
little.
was,
I love you. I think we
I
were
love
trying to
you.
end on this one for this season, and I'm sorry. We just kept on going.
We've
Okay.
always just said, like, let it be what it is. And I think everything was very well said and probably not always easy to say, but thank you because I really do think, and I think that was the hope from the beginning was that if we come out here and start sharing, that God would just align whoever needs to hear it with it, whether it's one person or whatever. And the hope is just that hearing that testimony would encourage somebody and draw other people to the Lord. And then they'll have a testimony and pay it forward and pay it forward. And I think that's what it's all about. So thank you.
Everyone has a story. And I appreciate you for walking through this and encouraging me and for being the best little editor and encourager and realist. And sometimes you're like, Jen, get over yourself. Come on, let's go. And you have been through things and have shared some. I know you'll share more throughout our journey together. And I just love you and appreciate you. And I think we may do one more little wrap up. We may not. This may be, we're trying to figure out for the summer. We want to take a little break to focus and just be present and then come back. But we'll see what happens. And we'll continue on this journey of motherhood.
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah. I think you really beautifully wrapped up the like Jen's Journey series. And if we're here in the next couple months, we're here. And if we're not, we are hanging out with our families and having a great summer. So
either way. And thank you, Jamie.
I love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We truly hope this episode has touched your heart.
If someone came to mind while you were listening, please feel free to share this with them.
And if you have any questions or feedback for us, you can reach us at allthingsunbrokenpodcast@gmail.com.
Have an awesome day.